All the way.
All the way, baby. How you doing, brother?
Tired. 2 full weekends of debauchery can do that to you, and all the stuff in between, like life, kind of throw it in the middle.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, watching your socials, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. I'm trying to turn it down a little bit.
You're the horse like coming in the last bend, and you got all the people betting on you, screaming, cheering you on.
Everyone bet on, but I'm coming in last. There's like half the people like
you are the sea biscuit.
He's coming back. He's coming back. You know.
You can do it.
You can do it. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. You had this past weekend, Halloween, fantastic time. Always a pleasure going back to the Swanee Music Park. Before that, bachelor party the previous weekend in St. Pete. So,
it's a recipe for a liver transplant.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely knocked off at least 10 years between like having to go inside somewhere to replace something in the future.
Well, you're looking great doing it, baby. Hey, if you don't know us, we want you to know us. We're the Professional Hippies. Welcome back to another episode of Professional Hippies. We like to bridge the gap between the hippie woo-woo and, I don't know, some professionalism in there, right? Maybe it's investing, maybe it's stocks, maybe it's stonks. Somewhere in the meaty middle, that's where you are. We are. Us. Hey, if you're digging what we talk about and the guests we have on, please leave us a review. We don't have ads. We're trying to keep it that way, but we'd love for you guys to share us.
Just brush up against that follow.
People,
a little
things,
blow on it, fart on it, press it, whatever you want to do.
It's all good. It's all good. So, what's going right for you, brother? We've heard about a little bit of debauchery, but what is tantalizing in your life right now?
Tantalizing my life. Things are just going well otherwise. Like business is going well, you know. Coming toward the end of the year, as you know, in sales.
Business good?
Business is going good. Yeah. Renters are paying rent, you know, no problems there. That's always nice.
That's always nice.
It's nice, cool weather here in Florida. It's finally come around, so we get a nice 2 weeks of pleasure of weather here in Florida.
2 weeks, right? Yeah, it's about to start shifting here in Austin. I'm like, oh man.
Man, we were at the beach a couple weekends ago, and I was out there, and it was like, I don't know, it was 11 a.m. or something. A cold front has come through. I was out there in like a jacket, long sleeve. Everyone out there was like shorts, but you heard all these like Boston accents, all these New York accents. They're in the water. I was like, y'all are nuts.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with that, man.
They won't have anything to do with that. But it's been awesome weather here since the hurricane. It literally, once that hurricane came through, it just shut down Florida. Hasn't rained barely since. It's been beautiful weather.
We've been getting rain here, and I tell you what, I'm fitting into this suburban, retired, late life community so well. Did I tell you what? The bane of my existence is grass. I fucking hate grass.
It's not that hard, man. You just let it grow, cut it.
You gotta water the shit out here. You gotta water it like crazy, man.
That's right. Y'all are droughting out there.
Not anymore, but it's just like shit dies. Then I drove by my neighbor's house, and I was like, I felt in communion with him because all his grass died. And then all of a sudden it's green again one day. I'm like, what the fuck happened? We came back from Hawaii, all new sod. And I'm like,
oh no.
Son of a bitch.
You little cheater.
I know. Well, I don't know. I really, it's like, hey, if you think about grass, why do we have it? Why does everyone have a lawn?
It's nice to walk on. It holds your yard in place.
Who were the first people to have lawns?
Dinosaurs.
Fair enough. Fair response. But hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, you were a G if you had a lawn. Because we didn't have lawnmowers. You had what? People went out there and cut the grass, sure. Right? No one liked tall grass. Stuff would hide in the grass. You don't have modern medicine. That stuff in the grass probably going to kill you.
Grass is a problem.
Grass is a problem, right? So Then with the advent of technology, industrial revolution, motors, mowers, all that kind of good stuff, everybody's like, hey, I can be a G now. I can have a lawn. Suddenly you find yourself in HOA where it's a requirement to have a lawn. Hey, I did this to myself. I get it. I'm bitching about a problem I made. But now keeping it up, it's like,
Did HOAs come first or the dirty looks from neighbors come first?
Dirty looks.
I think the dirty looks, right? Because everyone starts getting their lawn, but then you're like, you haven't moved up to the new iPhone yet, or you haven't made the switch to iPhone, and everyone starts looking at you like, hey, man, we've all done it.
We've all done it.
When are you going to grow that grass?
I got the report the other day. My HOA has like 1.3 mil in liquid.
Can we all get new sod here? That'd be great.
I went up to our community center, and the weight room, first off, sucks ass. Okay. Mold everywhere. Speakers don't work. I'm like, how much does it cost to just a little paint, a little dehumidifier next to the pool, a little chairs?
Sounds like someone should be running for the board.
Yeah, then I read how detailed all that shit was, and I'm like, no, they really are into this. I'm good. I thought
that's why you get into it. That's why you become the leader. You run for the president. You probably get voted in, and you just come in and you direct people. You do this shit. I'm out. You got everyone else doing that long list. Oh, and by the way, put some grass over here.
I hear you. Property. I hear you. I do. But I'm like, living in an RV is much more appealing than being the president of HOA. Just imagine all the old women. Oh, I can't do it.
You could create your own villages out there. HOA,
Cult is the word you're looking for, but I think
Colt's Colton. Colton's Colt.
Colton's Colt.
There you go.
Come get it. Hot and ready.
Hot and ready. Only RVs.
No, I'll tell you what is going right for me. I don't know if I told you about this the other day. First day, I think, since buying Mini Winnie the Brave.
Yeah?
Everything went right when I went to fix her.
Oh.
Everything went right.
Wow. It's things, you're seeing the turn on your hard work on working on Mini Winnie.
I tell you what, man, when I felt like a proud father, I just sat there. It was so nice to just fucking sit there and be like, all right, I got the transmission pan off, replace gaskets, replace fluids. Oh, what a fucking day.
It's that turn of like all the things that are surprising, which they'll still be surprises, but like things you don't know what's going on, and now that turn of like, all right, I got this. Oh, I can do this. Oh, it's a little bolt. Got to tighten that up.
He's figuring stuff out, man.
That's nice.
And this old guy stopped by while I was fixing it, and I'm sitting on the steps. I'm soaking in this moment, right? And this guy pulls up, stops, looks at me. And I was like, hey, man. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what? He's like, what are you doing? Hanging out, man. What's up? I was kind of defensive. I don't know. I just got done, wrecking my knuckles and covered in oil and all kinds of shit. And then I realized this is an old dude who wants to chop it up, right? And so I was like, just fixing shit. And he's like, yeah, they're good for it, aren't they? It's like, yeah, man.
This man saw himself 30 years ago.
Straight up and down.
Ooh, I've been here before. I know.
He goes, I used to think buying a boat was bring out another $1,000. He's like, man, you want a fucking burn pit of money, buy an RV.
Like, we're already past that stage, sir. We already know. You're not telling.
You got to find one there. I used to sell them. Braves, man.
You should have replied back with, hey, not only that, if you want to go to hell, go to Burning Man with it.
I asked him. He was like, what'd you get it for? I was like, you ever heard of Burning Man? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you were the naked man out there burning sausages, weren't you?
Sausage man. Naked sausage man. Keeping the playa alive.
Sausage man. Yeah. It was just such a good feeling, bro. It was such a good feeling. And the funniest part is I've gotten more information from an RV forum than anywhere else. Like, if I got to figure out how to do something, I'm literally going to Google or going to this forum, and these old men have nothing better to do than to just help each other out.
Those old men are on there like, oh, let's see what Oh, Sonny, that's an easy one. I remember that, bro, back in my day.
Oh. That's exactly what it is, dude. I'm looking at these Toms and Jerry's and their fucking profile pictures standing out in front of their RVs, and I'm like, thanks, brother.
But it's in front, and it's like straight upwards, like this.
Oh no, that's exactly what it is. Straight up the nostrils. But I mean, they're nice as can be. I feel a little incognito because they're like, no way they would think someone in their late 20s bought an RV, especially an old one. So I'm asking these questions, and it's just so proper, you know, like sirs and all that kind of stuff.
They're replying like already some certain things. You're like, what is that?
Oh, no. I let them know up front. That's where you get the most information. It's crazy when you just let people know on the internet, like, hey, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on. The internet shows up for you.
Yeah.
If you pretend to know, I think that's when you get chopped at the knees and people are like, you're a fucking dumbass. Like, come on.
Yeah. That's where you get cut. That's where, like, the Wall Street bets, you got to come in there, like, teach me your ways.
Well, like, I was looking at growing mushrooms today and was going through the forums on that kind of stuff. And, like, that's what I was referring to. Someone would ask a question and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, no, like, why would you ever do that? And you just kind of see this thread go down. And I'm like, okay, all right.
You're like, so, change the beginning of the thread. Beginner. Not just asking. Beginner.
Well, on Reddit, you'll get hit with your post gets taken down. I've had this happen quite a few times. The post will get taken down. Whoever like goes through and does that, and then they'll like send you a message and say, hey, just look at the index or look at the glossary or look at this thing. Like in the you ever go to Reddit for personal finance type stuff? You ever done that?
No, not for. I've done that in the past, and I just realized like there's way better forums, in my opinion, to go to.
Dude, when I tell you a wealth of information, no pun intended.
Yeah. It's just hard to search through it all to find.
Depends what you're looking for. I guess.
It's usually I see a bunch of like day traders on there, and they're just constantly posting. There's just information's constantly updating. I'm not really looking for the day trading stuff.
Yeah, I don't really want any part of that. Have you done anything different with your socks lately? I mean,
not really. Just buy more of things while it's down. You know, certain things while it's down, but otherwise, like, I just let it sit. People freak out during this time. And if you freak out, that's when you make a lot of mistakes. So while it's down, just like, oh, you know, certain stocks are doing well. You know, Elon bought Twitter. If he bought Twitter, his other companies are probably going to do well. So buy more Tesla.
I'm really wondering how that Twitter thing is going to pan out.
I think it's going to pan out great. Have you noticed, you've seen the fact checking going on now against a lot of the Democratic politicians that are happening? Mm-hmm. So you know how they were always fact checking a lot of the Republican politicians? Now all the fact checking, the Twitter fact checking is doing it both ways.
Are you on Twitter?
No, I'm on Twitter, but I just follow it a little bit. You know, now that it's picked up, which I think it's going to help Twitter because everyone's going to start flocking back now that it's going both ways on the platform now. I think it's going to help Twitter a ton.
I know there was have you heard
also,
of
he cut
Rumble?
a ton of jobs, so he's getting rid of tons of salaries. The overhead is going down and revenue's going up.
I mean, I don't doubt, like, obviously with the companies he's built, I saw a video the other day of some guy kind of going through Elon's accolades. The fact, like, he didn't invent Tesla, like, he bought that idea from another guy. And I don't know, like, he was kind of going through stuff, and I'm like, there's no way you can look at his pedigree of the things he's done and call him a fucking idiot or just say, like, he got handed shit. The dude has put consistently everything on the line to make his stuff work. Because he just knows, he's like, I'm always going to be fine. You know, he doesn't need much. He's just a workaholic. So,
yeah, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
He was pushing people, too. And also, the reason why Tesla got to where it was because he knew where to go and recruit. He was very strict on who he was bringing into the business to work with him. Like he's very strategic about what he's doing out there. And every person that's ever worked with him at that company has had nothing but good things to say about him.
Well, they say he's a fucking hard ass and like extremely demanding, but
he's a hard ass, extremely demanding, but they're not like he's a horrible boss. He's just extremely demanding. you listen to like what Steve Jobs had, he was extremely demanding and an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't hear the asshole part about Elon. They're like, hey, he was strictly demanding, but it's not like he was going home afterwards and hanging out with his kids. He was sleeping on the couch.
I think that's the difference, right? He's leading from the front. He's like, hey, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to expect everyone else to do it. And
yeah, you got to do it. If you're going to be here, you do it with me or you don't. I'm still going to be here doing it.
That wasn't one thing I did see on Reddit that I thought was really funny is, you have depending on what rabbit hole you're going down, you have a lot of softies on there, right?
Yeah.
So they were talking about like how Elon's being so demanding and he's just trying to like push people so they quit instead of having to fire them, whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. People are like, well, there goes work-life balance. I'm like, that company has gotten so bloated and so fat. People are saying the same thing about Google. They're saying Google is getting really bloated. A lot of people that are doing remote work are kind of just like, what's it called? Silent quitting or quiet quitting, where they're like just barely hitting quotas.
People are having one or two different jobs out there. Like I've noticed that research too, that they're calling them like J1, J2, J3 because they're doing nothing at Google and able to go get other sales jobs and basically do nothing and get these high salaries for nothing, for basically doing anything. And so people are now looking at them and saying like, oh, Google's now cutting jobs. They're assholes for doing that. No, they're making smart business moves. And if you're not doing what they want you to do, they're going to come through and cut your ass.
I think that's a weird thing that a lot of people forget about business is that business is like nature. It's ruthless.
Well, it's not even, a lot of people think it's ruthless. I don't think so. It's like, hey, look, if we're out and about doing something, right, like you have to take care of yourself. Like, look at yourself as a business, right? You have to take care of other people out there, but you have to take care of yourself before you can even help take care of other people. Well, before I can give people jobs and opportunities, I have to take care of the business in order for it to survive. All right, well, in order for it to survive, we're going to have to make some cuts here in order to keep 100,000 jobs. And we have 150,000 people right now. We're going to have to cut 50,000 in order to get rid of 100,000 instead of getting rid of 150,000 people because the business didn't survive.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like if you see a lion eating an antelope, you're not going to say, hey, that's ruthless. Like that's nature.
It's nature.
Right? And the reason why when a company goes public, that it's considered an entity, it's considered its own thing at that point is because, like you're saying, all the people that make a living from that entity. So like whoever's at the head of that ship has a duty to those people. And so it has to be viable. It has to make money like that. I think that's a really interesting distinction when a company goes public that they say the board and the people running it have to do what's in the best interest of the shareholders. Like they have to maximize profit.
Well, that's why this worked out with Twitter because the board never had a plan. They had nothing to bring anything back to counter what Elon was offering for his bid. They had no plan. They're doing all their boards on other companies or running other companies. None of them know how to run a social media network. So they come to the table. Elon brings this to them, and then the SEC's like, all right, Twitter board, what do you have to counter offer? And they're like, we got nothing. What are we going to do?
I wonder if he bought it because he really did get painted into a corner.
Probably a little bit. Not going to lie.
It feels like he overpaid for it.
But he was coming in. Well, that's what he was doing at first on purpose. He was inflating his price because, like, what are they going to do to come back to go against that, overpaying for it? Like, what do you have to counter offer to that? And they didn't have anything. So it's also interesting that he's coming in and he's been fired. All right, Leo, I love you too, buddy. You gotta come down for a second.
Dude, animals galore. Kai just came in here. It's like. We don't even have kids yet, man. It's like, what are we doing here, guys?
They're like, hey, my attention. So it's interesting that Elon has made all these cuts to Twitter, and Twitter's still running fine. Like, how bloated was Twitter? Because these board members didn't really know what was going on. They just kept getting funding and money and tons of money. And they're like, just hire whoever. Hey, there we go. He's like, we're gonna point the camera this way. It's a great view of that wall. Yeah, I think Leo misses me a lot. I've been gone the past couple weekends, long weekends.
What's been gone? Sorry, I had to, just tend to another child.
Just Leo's been super lovey-dovey and cuddly past few days.
Dude, it's been a showdown in this house. I mean, we got Jelly Bean that's tempting Kai to run after him. Kai that's trying to suck up our love, so he's under our ass. And
yeah, you keep getting more animals. I'm happy with just one.
Dude, I mean, I love him. I love him to death. But it's I want to teach Jelly Bean to ride Kai, so I don't have to deal with them battling it out anymore. Just take him where you're going. He's going to bring you to me, so it's all good. Just put a little saddle. That's right.
Get a little cat saddle. Right.
And then Triton's all freaking out because he's wanting attention now, and I can't clip his nails, but he gets in my lap and he does that biscuit thing. Dude, you should see my legs. I look like, I don't know, I got attacked with poison ivy or something. I got all these little pinpricks on my legs. It's crazy. I don't know what to do, man.
That's your fault. This is all your fault.
I don't know what to do, bro. I got on here to talk about content, comfort zones, and influencer stuff, and it's just life, man.
We'll talk about influencer stuff. Look at Twitter. I wonder what's going to happen now with the platform where it's going to be. I think he's trying to just turn it more into a newsworthy resource for information to go to. That's pretty much what everyone was using it for anyways.
I think he tasked a lot of his engineers to figure out a way to bring Vine back as well.
Which is interesting. Snapchat's just oh, shit.
I mean, it's did Twitter buy Vine? I'm pretty sure, obviously, they did because they're trying to bring it back.
Did they? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they bought Vine and then shut it down, dissolved it, or took in the talent, whatever. Because
bought it and launched by. It was developed independently, but bought and launched by Twitter in 2013.
And then they shut it down, right?
Yeah.
I wonder why they shut it down.
Probably, Instagram came out with their reels, and then you had Snapchat coming out with their features. TikTok came along.
Yeah.
You had 3 big platforms coming at Vine, and Twitter was let's just lean towards bullshit instead.
I mean, you think about it, Vine kind of launched the short, really bite size. Hey, I don't really want to see what my friends are up to. This is just entertainment, and it'll keep feeding you what you like.
Yeah, that's what a lot of I think there's some famous people that came out. There's definitely some famous people that came out of Vine went into.
Oh yeah, like David Dobrik, Logan Paul.
What's that? The big fat eating guy, avocado something dude. Nikki Avocado.
Like a guy I need to know.
Nikki Avocado. Don't look that up. That's a depressing watch right there.
Okay.
But if you really want to feel better about yourself, it's a good watch.
Sure, man. Sure. Well, hey, speaking of companies too, Facebook. They have a lot of people on edge right now because of all the money they're dumping into Meta.
I think that's
metaverse.
It is not. They went the whole wrong way trying to pitch that thing. They're trying to make it this whole new thing, and people are, no, man. This isn't the direction. He's trying to make it the next thing, like he did with Facebook and stuff. I don't think people want to allow him to do it. You can't control the next crazy thing that is going to be controlling everybody's lives like that.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make it where that's going to be our everyday thing. You can barely get people to want to turn on a Zoom meeting, with a camera or even to jump on one. Now you want people to put on these Oculus, or even if it turns into glasses, and then create an avatar and then pretend like they're in a human form. I don't even like pretending in being in a human form in the first place. Now you want me to do it with a Kermit the Frog thing? I don't know.
I will say, I listened to some interviews.
It looks cool for video games. Don't get me wrong on that.
It's a great concept.
Boom.
It's amazing on paper. And Mark admits the shortcomings, right? But I mean, if they can pull it off, it'll definitely be.
I don't think they're going to pull it off. I
don't think so either.
They'll pull it off.
I'm a bet man. I don't think so either.
For video games, great. It'll be great for video games. But they're trying to make it for everyday people's lives, which it'll be great for introverts Cool. Gives you a reason, an opportunity to go socialize with people without having to go out into the real world. Just don't complain when you're depressed and lonely down the road. But like that, it's given them an opportunity to go out and be able to do that and socialize with people, which is awesome. But you're still not going to, keep people from going to Ibiza. You're still not going to keep people from going hiking and on the trails and people what they want. Also, you can do everything you want unless you create a pill. You're never getting rid of that headache from having a screen in front of your face for hours on end.
Yeah, so he talked about all that kind of stuff, and I saw the demo for like UFC. So with UFC, you can be ringside, right? Like you can go all the way around the ring and watch the fight live. So they have some stuff that's like really engaging, really interesting. But at the end of the day, like the thing that their stock has gone down, the value of the company has gone down, I think, 60, 70%, something like that. It went from $1 trillion valuation to 250 billion. And one of the things that I was taken in from a talking head, they were talking about the core of Facebook is still producing so much fucking cash that even if this is a massive failure, they are bringing in so much money. They can afford to take this moonshot. I mean, they're dumping, I don't know what it was, 10, 15 billion dollars into trying this out and like trying to push this.
I mean, look at Instagram's still hot right now. That's not really going anywhere. I mean, yeah, Facebook's getting old, but people still use it every day. They're still raking in tons of money. It's just that he's trying to make this crazy push. Hey, Leo. They're trying to make this crazy push for this meta thing that just doesn't make sense. That
it feels forced.
It feels way forced. I mean, look around you. Like everyone has a phone in their hand now. Sure. Everyone's using.
The girl is actively trying to leave the bar, and Mark is just, one more.
Just one more thing. Just take this. And it's like, hey, no, man, it's cool. It's cool. Leave it to the video games. I think that's where your market's going to be. But he's trying to push it to everyday life and everyday stuff. And I just think he's going down the wrong path with that.
I mean, what do you do though? Like, what else do you do if you're Facebook? I mean, you
pivot? Hey,
to what?
Look, no one wants to do this in the everyday. Let's go full force. Let's work with Sony. Let's work with Microsoft. Let's get in that Xbox and PlayStation and synchronize it with the system. So that way on the next platform, it comes out with their systems. And then there's all these new video games developed that specifically go with an Oculus or whatever they're creating.
I don't know, man. I'm eager to see what Apple does when they come out with their VR.
Yeah, see, they're gonna. What if they come out and it's just astronomically better, and they just specifically focus? Like they're like, yeah, we don't want this for your Zoom business meetings. We want this so you can knock people the fuck out in a boxing ring yourself. You want to fight Jay Paul? Get on in there.
I will say this about Apple: everything they do works. It's a great experience. Like anything you get from Apple, is quality. It's going to go forever. And it's going to have $1,000 accessories. Those are the things to expect from Apple.
I think, too, as well, the Meta, they've really pushed it hard. They try to take advantage of COVID. For example, Burning Man had their own metaverse for when no one could attend in 2020. So they created this. So Metaverse is like, oh, this is the direction everything's going to go. No one's ever going to want to back out in the sun and get vitamin D for themselves. They're just going to stay in their house, locked in their house all the time, and just go visit these worlds. No, they don't. No, they do not. And so I think they try to take advantage of that and try to tell everyone this was the new normal. Because, I mean, that's what you look back at his speeches. He was like, this is the new normal. This is the direction it's going. And I think a lot of tech companies bought into it because he owns Facebook and Meta.
I don't know. I think where all technology is heading is towards truth. And we want some expectation of privacy, but we're not going to get that, right? I think privacy's gone out the window. But you see like sites like Rumble. I think Jack Dorsey's behind Rumble, or it's another creator. But that open town square thing, like Elon's talking about, where you can go to these platforms and expect just real discourse, honest information. Nothing crazy like cartel beheadings or stuff like that, but like someone can openly express their opinion. I think that's what people are craving is the truth. I would agree with you. I don't think people are really craving being able to escape into a suit and put on a purple wig and roller skates and be a hentai chick in some other world.
Like, if you're gonna have me go into the metaverse and be able to do that, I'm not gonna put on a stupid suit and dress my avatar like that. I'm gonna be looking like my own character. I mean, look at the Zoom stuff that happened during COVID, right? Everyone was able to jump in on each other's meetings. They were able to do these crazy backgrounds. Sure, people kept it professional, but people made a living off of getting people's codes in order to jump into random meetings if they wanted to. Chris Pavlovsky created Rumble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, they've been landing some really big names over there and allowing people to just kind of like, hey man, whatever you want to say, this is your thing. I don't know what they have as far as like protections and stuff or like code of conduct.
Jack Dorsey's new social media app, Blue Sky, is under beta testing. He's like, I did it once, I'll do it again.
Dude, he's got so much money. Oh my God, he's got so much money.
Square. Everyone's moving their system over to Square for payroll, for credit card processing online.
Stuff like that blows me away. How much money there is in like boring transactional stuff that no one would ever think about. Just guys that are like, there's a problem.
What about the people that, what was it? I think there was a doctor once that said, you know how if you ever pay your medical bills online, I created the credit card processing for that, and I get a penny for every transaction. Think of how many of those there are, every day, 100,000 every 5 minutes.
Who knows? I called today. I had a letter come in the mail, a debt collection, whatever, from when I got tested for COVID. This is the funny stuff that when we got all those COVID tests, they said, hey, it's free. Like, that's just the thing. If you need a test, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
So I get this letter and I call the debt collection people and they're like, yeah, we can't really see. And I was like, dude, I didn't even live here when this was going down. It turns out I was in town. I needed it to go to Mexico. Long story short, she was like, I don't really have any other information. And I was like, okay, so how can I get in contact? How can I verify this was me? And she was like, well, the signatures match. And I'm like, you have the signatures? She's like, yeah, I'm looking at the signatures. I was like, okay, where did I get this? Then she goes, I don't know, but they scanned your ID. I'm like, woman, if you don't tell me.
Hey, someone sold this debt to you. And
right.
In that debt, there's a Excel tab. If you move,
just looking for a phone number, not even a name, just
if you look on the Excel sheet, it goes from H to J. So if you open it up, there'll be an I.
So long story short, I figured out who it was, called them, and the lady was like super cool about it. But she said, yeah, did you have COVID symptoms? And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's why I came in to get a test. And she goes, yeah, so the funny thing was, if you didn't have COVID symptoms, then your insurance company charged you for a copay. If you did, or you tested positive, then it was free.
There's a lot of things I'm noticing, a lot of people, companies and stuff trying to get their money back during that time. All the loans that were let out during that time, all the stuff happening during people are trying to retract their money now.
Dude,
get that back.
Crazy the amount of
starting
money
to happen
that was
now,
flowing
right?
around there.
A lot of people losing that were like not paying their rents, trying to leverage what the states were doing, and now they're trying to recoup it back. The owners like, oh no, you just got a lean way to push it off. It's not like it stopped.
Yeah,
like a student loan, the interest still keeps going, but we'll push off your student loan payment for you.
It's such a weird, being an adult, I guess, from graduating high school, going through college to now, everything's been pretty much on the up. This is kind of our first experience of the economy in America being like a worldwide kind of.
Yeah, I would say so, but and that's when we have these dips, right? Like this is where you have to learn to take advantage of these situations. Because the big companies the rich people they're learning how to take advantage of these situations. Learning how to take advantage of every situation and always making money in it. I feel like is the only way to keep going, right? You get into these times and then you're like, oh, economy's crap. We all have to take a break now. Sure, you start saving a little bit more money, but if you don't figure out like, oh, if this market's going down, there's obviously another market going up somewhere to get into.
Not China or Russia. Definitely not Russia.
Russia's not a good time right now, probably to be doing business in at the moment. But, I mean, arguably, China could be a good market to be doing business in right now, somehow.
I guess it depends what you're into, man.
I would support buying local more, but, I mean, I saw someone the other day that I guess a lot of car lifts come from China anyways. They just remarket it and brand them here. And the guy was like, yeah, I could buy like 4 for $15,000 or I could buy 12 for $15,000 from China. It's the same thing. Like,
really?
That's a smart business move.
Yeah.
To do that. Sorry, I get buying local, but same idea with what we were talking about earlier. You got to take care of the business first.
Yeah, I mean, just running a business is in itself like keeping a child alive. And hats off to anybody listening to this that has their own business. If you have your own business, actually, share this with us and let us know, like, what kind of business do you have? Like, what do you run?
Mm-hmm.
Hit us on the social, on Instagram, and we'd love to feature you because, like, that's one thing I've seen the last couple weeks, meeting with a lot of people locally here in Austin that have their own business. I got some cool stories to share with you off air about that. You're just like, you can make money so many different kinds of way, but you really got to want it at the same time. You got to have a relationship with that money. You got to tend to that money either way, because you're either forcing your will in the world or somebody else is kind of like forcing it for you and kind of telling you what to do, aka a job, right? I don't know. That's what I was thinking about earlier when we were kind of talking about before the podcast, like influencers. It's crazy that you can make a full-time income from just like, what is that influencer? Like influencing content, people?
Yeah. It's basically the amount of views that you're able to bring, the amount of views that you get, and because of the amount of views that you have, advertisers want a chunk of those views, so they'll pay you to put a portion of their logo in front of your viewers. That's all it is, and you just created good content with enough people to view your stuff, and because of that, advertisers will pay you. Like, I mean, look at, for example, right? I'll give you a great example. The Super Bowl Sunday has more, their dollar value for their ads are higher than any other football list because there's more viewers, right? So the ad content for a Browns-Texans game is going to be far lower than what's going to be for like a Rams-Chiefs game. That's probably going to have way more higher value, right? So it's the same thing. You and I aren't making a ton of money yet on the podcast because we don't have a ton of viewers on it as much as we will in the future. But then you get to like Joe Rogan and he's popping off on it. So that's all, to me, that's all influence is. But then again, you always have to stay on top of that content then to keep the viewers happy because you can just get unfollowers and people just stop following you. I think a lot of times as well, too, they'll plateau on their followers and they'll just keep making the same content over and over then at some point instead of creating new. I think that's a lot of stuff that happens too with creators.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people get wrapped up in...
How long can you keep that up, though?
Depends how much you like it, right? Or want to sell your soul. And it's not so much quantity as well as it is quality. I've also noticed that a couple people I follow online make a ridiculous amount of money with 75, 100,000, 200,000 followers. But it's like really niche, right? Like one of them is just how to grow your following on Instagram. Another is like e-com. So the ads that they put in their stuff, call it YouTube, right? The ads that people will put for like, if you have a woodworking channel, like Home Depot advertising on there, they'll pay significantly more than if you have like a lifestyle channel.
Yeah, completely makes sense. Completely makes sense. Yeah, I feel like that's why gaming is such a big thing right now because that's such a niche, that's kind of a niche area that a lot of people that know their customers are into gaming, they'll post their advertising and pay a lot of those influencers a lot of money on there.
Yeah, like Mr. Beast with all his audience, he got paid $1 million for app, like a gaming app, like a card game app that you could get in the App Store or whatever. But then you go to that app and those microtransactions. So like if you want the gold ruby chest super deluxe premium, you got to pay $10.99 or whatever it is.
Like Farmville.
Oh yeah, Candy Crush, all that shit. So it's just crazy, man. When you think about it, it's like, yeah, an influencer is just influencing the market based on the amount of eyeballs that they're able to capture.
Till they pop you, and then someone wants to do better than you are, be a better influencer than you are, and then they create a fake account, search all your back history, and then find something you said negative as an influencer back in the day in order to cancel you.
I guess we're just beating them to it with this whole podcast, aren't we?
Could cancellations be almost considered a vacation these days? Like it's almost like a break for that influencer. Like, oh, all right, how long they cancel it? They last like 3 months. All right, I'm just not gonna post anything for 3 months. Great, I'm gonna go travel to Bermuda, all these places. PR team, you figure it out. And I don't have to post anything for 3 months. Cool. Like, what if these high influencers create their own cancellation so they can go on vacation for a few months?
Well, you think about some of the people who've been canceled, like Kevin Hart, Logan Paul, Louis C.K. I listened to Louis C.K. on a podcast, and he was talking about, it wasn't even actually on the podcast. It was in his comedy special, where he said, hey, we all have our weird things. It just so happens to be the entire world knows my weird thing. On the podcast I was listening to, because of the way he built his business, instead of having like an agency or whatever,
controls everything.
Everything. Has his own email list, has his own website, does his own payment processing. Dude's super stable.
Stable. Yeah, he was like, I'm fine. Yeah. If I stop working, I'd be fine. He's like, I just love working, so I'm going to go back into it.
Who's been canceled that like didn't make a rebound?
People that canceled it didn't make a rebound. I mean, quite a few social media people have been canceled that didn't make a rebound, for sure. I can't think of anything off my top.
I'm sure there's tons of people, right? But yeah, it just seems like, I wonder if cancel culture is a thing that will go away.
I don't think it'll go away. I just think it just won't be as prominent after a while. It just depends on how much of people agree with whatever the cancel culture is canceling on.
Like, what's that saying? Like, hard men create peace. Peace creates comfort. Comfort creates weak men. Sure. Weak men create hard times. Something like that. Hard times create strong men, etc. It goes around and around and around. So
here's a interesting example I like to look at. So Chris D'Elia, right? So he got busted for what he was doing. He communicating through Snapchat, which what he thought was an older woman turns out to be a younger age woman. It seems like he was still continuing a little bit, and he was cheating on his wife. A lot of people came down on him pretty hard, canceled him. His wife, he's still with his wife and kid. He's worked it out. He has made a comeback, right? I listened all the way from when he started opening up his podcast again, and he's doing great again, right? But he had it pretty hard for a little while. Let's look at Louis C.K. We all know what happened with him and that whole thing. He was out for a while, and he came back. But then you have Alec Baldwin, who has been completely against guns. He has been completely against weapons. He has been advocating to getting rid of guns altogether, and with him and his whole group. Then he goes on and he shoots and kills somebody on his set, right? With a weapon that he was not being safe about. Doesn't matter if there was a handler for it. He should still have understood his training or gone through the training to handle it. And he didn't really get much backlash on that at all. Like, why? He literally killed somebody. Why is that not being canceled? Oh, it's because the cancel culture are very selective of who they want to target and go after and be selective on, right? And so I just think, I don't think it's going to go away. I just think the people that are normally doing it, people are just getting tired of their shit and what they're picking and choosing.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any kind of influence on the internet, you're gonna catch it.
That just comes with it. Just comes with it. We'll get it at some point on this.
We've
podcast.
Already gotten it, dude. Oh man, those are my favorite.
They come up. Whatever. Hey, thank you for for commenting and giving me whatever your opinions are. Just keep
Bumps it a
pushing
little
my
bit in the algorithm.
Give me my
hey,
algorithm. I appreciate everything. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like.
Tell us.
I'll come find me where I live. I don't care. I'll have a conversation with you about it.
Unless you're a Jehovah's Witness, just please don't.
Come on in. I have a Jehovah's Witness come to my house, and I'm like, you can come on in, smoke some weed. Let's talk about it. And they're like, I won't smoke weed, and then I will just get blazing, and I'll talk to them. And they're like, all right, we got to go. And I was like, and then I'll keep the conversation going as much as I can. Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about. Let's talk
Do you
about
know
this.
the flying spaghetti monster?
Do you know?
Do you have a personal relationship with our Lord and Noodle?
Yeah, don't forget Dr. Saucy.
Oh, man. Al dente. Gave his only begotten son.
Whoever shall believe in him shall not perish and roll over in his meatballs.
Kids, all we're advocating for is taking care of your brain. Like, take supplements, meditate.
This is what happens when you don't test your stuff.
Drink green juice and, love yourself, because that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. You ready to land this plane, baby?
No, not yet. Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on with your psychedelic push. It looks like you're trying to do.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I just had a list here, and the rats were at the end of it, and I didn't think we wanted to talk about the rats.
Screw the rats.
Yeah, screw them. Seriously, screw the rats.
Screw the rats.
Yeah, man. So it's been so much fun creating content around that stuff and like genuinely figuring it out.
Post it on the Instagram page, the TikTok page for Professional Hippies. You're creating this stuff, like you might as well post it on both.
Yeah. Figuring out like when you were going through and figuring out how to cut up our clips and like the video editing software. It's fun. Just learning new life skills. It really is fun. You know, so one of the things I've been doing is, I enrolled in a psychedelic mastermind about a month ago, and maybe a little bit longer than that. And it's really cool just learning the different dynamics between being like, say like a Sherpa, being a sitter, being a psychedelic informed coach, being a guide. So there's all kinds of different routes you can go. What I did find really interesting is my mentor, kind of the premise and his mission is that when you think about it, in a year or two, we're going to have psychedelics pretty mainstream legalized. MDMA, psilocybin, ketamine. While it'll be
start seeing it,
it'll be at clinics. But what happened when cannabis was legalized medicinally? I mean, it just opens up the floodgate, right?
Once one happens, they all start doing it.
Right, exactly. So, but you're talking about on a federal level, not like state, like Colorado led the way with. This is going to be on a federal level. So you're going to have a whole wave of people. You're talking millions of people that will be interested in taking these medicines, looking for medicinal treatment, not like recreationally, like veterans with PTSD, people with anxiety, OCD.
I think it's going to be a huge mental wellness, advocate for it. I think there's going to be a ton of people there and be like, I've tried everything. Why not try this at this point?
Exactly. Right. So when you think about the amount of guides or therapists and doctors that are certified right now to handle this wave, he broke down the numbers to me, but it was something astronomical. It was like very difficult to wrap my head around how many people are going to need services and aren't going to be able to get through that bottleneck. Right. So just thinking about, hey, what's coming in the next 1 to 2 years? I mean, that's kind of like one of the things behind our platform.
Have you seen the rehab facilities that have been created so far? Like, rehab facilities have become a far bigger business than I thought it's become. But when I used to think of rehab facilities, I used to think of like halfway houses, like run down. They're not very good. There are very wealthy, like athletes, very wealthy other people that have created businesses that have gotten into this industry. And these places are like little tiny mansions
Mm-hmm.
with everything stocked. It's clean. They got people to take care of you. They're like trying to turn the system. And I think they're also prepping exactly for this. That they know what's coming. And they're trying to get their places set up and ready, and they're trying to get the foundation going. So once these become legal, there's already a plethora of coaches and therapists that already know how to do it. And then now these coaches and therapists will have a venue to go to that's being produced. I mean, think of like a hospital. Doctors, you get the doctors created, now they need a place to go to in order to perform their services. I think that's what's happening, currently being created in the therapy world.
Definitely. I mean, it's another tool. Like, that's the big thing that enough people don't get. It's like, hey, this is not for everybody, right? But a lot of people are interested. A lot of people do want to explore using psychedelics and dissociatives.
Percocet's not for everybody either, but they try to make it for everybody.
Isn't. Man, you want to talk about something?
Percocet's not for everybody. Weed's not for everybody. I mean, ketamine's not for everybody. I mean, neither is IVs and shit, you know. Everything that Adderall's not for everybody. All this shit that they've been like, it's for everybody. We have figured out it's not. But it did help out a lot of people. It's just not for everybody.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not, nothing's really one size fits all. And so just with this wave, like, one of the things that I'm passionate about and really wanting to be at the forefront of is helping as many people as possible and doing it safely. Right? Like, that's one of the things that I'm digging into. I'm realizing kind of how lucky we were at navigating this space. I mean, granted, common sense can take you pretty far. Doing your research can take you pretty far. But, I mean, you got a lot of stuff coming onto the market now, like fentanyl and I can't remember. There's another analog of fentanyl that's hitting the market that is 100 times... less volume, 1,000 more times potent.
There's always going to be new something. I think some guests that we should definitely focus on next getting that I think would be really interesting for our listeners. Getting a specialist that's going to deal with therapy and ketamine, and a therapist that's going to specialize in dealing with MDMA. I think those are two separate properties that are going to have their own things that people are going to go to for. I think it would be awesome to have two separate people. I mean, there might be one that deals in both, but it'd be great to have someone that's like, this is what I'm focused on.
Definitely.
This is what I'm focused on to come on.
Yeah.
To go through, I think we should go through maps and try to find someone in that area.
Well, the place I met up with my mentor the other day, I don't want to say their name on there, and fucking sick. It's a ketamine treatment facility. And like
Perfect.
They had a whole wall that was made out of Himalayan rock salt. You know, there's this giant, beautiful mural, and like their chill area, their lobby, if you will, it's just like couches and like floor cushions and like all this comfy shit.
That's what I was talking about earlier. It was like, these people, they're creating these facilities that are just like comfortable.
Fuck yeah! You walk around the corner, they got just massage chairs lined up against the wall. I'm like, this place is the tits.
Can I just come in and hang out?
Yeah, well,
you know,
on Thursdays I will be.
Like, that would be interesting if there'll be a facility. You know how Thancho was talking about creating her, you know, you had your pyramid with the different yoga stations and stuff. That'd be cool if there was one of those, but like each level had their own therapy session of something. Like, all right, you go to the MDMA level, you go to ketamine level, you go to your ayahuasca level, mushroom level, you know, whatever you need. The mushroom level is just constant screaming. But like, gotta pad that one. But,
people fighting them demons, baby.
Don't worry about it. They're calm down. But yeah, it would be awesome. I think if we got some of that, I think a lot of our listeners would really appreciate those guests. And we got some. Next weekend we're going to be recording with Luke and Black Mamba coming back on. We're going to have that guest that you were going to have coming on today. I think we got some good ones coming here soon.
Yeah, we got a great lineup. I'm really excited for the boys. That's going to be a hell of a podcast.
It'll be a good. What are they called? Little
powwow.
Boys are back in town.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it, dude. That'll be epic. So yeah, man, we got a lot of fun guests coming up, and yeah, I'm stoked.
Awesome. Well, everyone, hope you appreciate another episode of the Professional Hippies Podcast. Share it with those that you love. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Let us know. Give us some feedback, what you're thinking about everything. If there's some specific topics you want us to talk about, let us know. If there's a business that you own, you want to come on and market it and tell us how you got into the business and what you do, and you kind of understand where we're taking things and you think you'd be a good fit for it, let us know. Come on. We'd love to hear from you. Our listeners would. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good week. We'll record next week and we'll have another one out. Peace,
See ya.
everybody.